I'm Norm Poltenson, the publisher of the Business Journal, and I want to talk to you about things that are sacrosanct. When I was growing up as a kid, there were two things that were sacrosanct. One was motherhood, the other was apple pie. I think today we've got a third one, and it's called the K-12 public school staffing. Let me take you back to 1950 when I was in the 7th grade, and we were told by the educational experts in America that our classrooms were too large. It was too difficult for our teachers to teach us. What we needed were more teachers, smaller classrooms. We would be smarter kids, and the country would benefit from it. Okay, that was 6 decades ago. And in that period of time, the country has grown its number of students by 96%. How did we do with the teachers? Well, the teachers are up 252%. And how did we do with our non-teaching staff, which you and I would call the administrators and the clerical staff and the support staff? They're up 702%. So if you add them all together and you look at the full-time employees who are in public school education, it's gone up 386% over the last 6 decades compared with the growth of children of 96%. So that's a 4-time increase. So what did we get for it? Are we smarter? Well, if you look at the scores that we take periodically, these are international test scores where we match ourselves against other developed countries, of which there are 31. And then they throw in another 34 countries, sort of on the borderline of developed plus provinces. We're right in the middle, which makes us mediocre. And we're not only in the middle, but if you look at the cost per pupil, we're in the top 3. Okay, how about domestic scores? Well, we have the NAEP, which is a standardized testing score that we've been running for at least the last 20 years. And we test kids when they're 9 years old, 13 years old, and again when they're 17 years old. Have the test scores improved? Well, if you look at the math and you look at the reading scores, they have not improved. In fact, what's a little embarrassing is that the longer the kids are in school, the dumber they get. Okay, how about graduation rates? Well, let's see. In the last 20 years, graduation rates have remained under 75% to those who graduate high school on time. And over 40 years, there's actually been a decline in the overall on-time high school graduation rate. Well, is there anybody who benefited from this 6 decades of investment? I would say that the parents with special needs clearly benefited because there was a lot of mainlining of the kids into the classrooms and a lot of one-on-one education. But that certainly doesn't account for all the increase in teachers and in support staff. I would say that the unions definitely benefited because their membership went up by a factor of 3. So who didn't benefit? Well, if you're a taxpayer, you didn't benefit. And if you're thinking of the nation as a whole, since the purpose of this was to develop smarter kids, we didn't benefit at all. So looking back on this, it's interesting that a Fordham Institute study, which was released recently, actually says that the parents are ahead of the school administrators and teachers because they think the best avenue is to get better teachers and fewer bureaucrats. In fact, between 2/3 and 75% feel that way. Nothing will happen in terms of changing our current situation unless we break the public school monopoly. So if you have any thoughts about going back to motherhood and apple pie, I don't think it'll happen right away. But I certainly hope that the growth of staffing in our public schools, K-12, will come back to some kind of a normal level, and that we finally come to realize that the best thing we can do is have outstanding teachers in our classrooms teaching our kids. Then we'll get results. More money does not solve the problem. Thanks for listening. I'm Norm Poltenson.